Today for the Bitcoin price, we will talk about the #1 leading indicator altcoin for the Bitcoin price, which not only always breaks resistance before Bitcoin does, it also breaks the support before Bitcoin actually does. We will also talk about what's the next likely move according to the Bitcoin leading indicator here. And for this specific altcoin, it works here also on the higher time frame, where this one already broke the resistance, whereas Bitcoin, as you are already aware of, if you connect the wicks, did not break it yet. Well, we will talk about all of that. What's the next likely move for Bitcoin? So definitely, guys, this one will be extremely exciting. Make sure you take a seat. Make sure you smash up the like button right now. And that being said, welcome crypto friends and welcome back to MMCrypto. My name is Chris. And as always, we are really pumped to go straight into the content. So before we go to the daily, let's start here on the lower time frames. And right here on the upside, there is Bitcoin, and on the downside, it's Litecoin. And we are here on the 7-minute chart. Before we go into the daily, which is actually even more interesting since there is more significance to it, we will focus here on the lower time frame on the 7-minute. And you can see here the original tweet by Willy Woo. He actually pointed that out. Low time frame, Litecoin has been leading Bitcoin. Litecoin already has broken the next resistance. But guys, there is more to it. We will show you something more and even take that a little bit further. And this is not about that Litecoin goes up before Bitcoin. This is not the case. Litecoin breaks support and resistance before Bitcoin does. So on lower time frames, we can use that for breakout trades, but on higher time frames, we can use it to catch bottom, to catch trend reversals actually. And we will come to that later because that's the much more important point. But to understand this whole mechanics, we are looking here on the lower time frames, here on the 7-minute chart. And you can see here there was the downward sloping resistance for Litecoin here on the downside. And what you can see is Litecoin broke the downward sloping resistance right here. So let's mark that here with a vertical line. You can see the breakout was approximately here. For Bitcoin, however, you had only this rejection, the fake out, and then you had the breakout here, which is a little bit later, okay? Only a little bit, but let's go to the next one. So here you had the downward sloping support for Bitcoin and also for Litecoin. You had the small little fake out. You could take this one or this one. And if you take the real breakdown here to the downside, you have to mark it here on the 8th of January, approximately at 2 p.m. UTC. And if we do the same for Bitcoin, you can see the breakdown actually happening here 2.5 hours later. And let's now go to the next one. So if we were to make the same thing here for Litecoin, it was actually yesterday, Litecoin broke the downward sloping resistance here to the upside, and then Bitcoin, well, it went up at the same moment, but it broke the resistance afterwards. So Litecoin seems to be here for now only on the lower time frame to be a leading indicator for breaking support and resistance for Bitcoin. So if you were to trade on the lower time frames, this would have actually provided you extremely accurate signals to short or to long. And on the daily, the question everyone is asking right now, when is Bitcoin finally breaking this downward sloping resistance here? If you connect the wicks, actually Bitcoin didn't break it yet. If you connect the bodies of the candles, it broke it. But if you connect the wicks, you can see here, we got a very nice rejection for Bitcoin actually at the downward sloping resistance. So when is that going to happen? And is it even going to happen? Well, according to the Litecoin leading indicator, and guys, of course, take it with a grain of salt, but according to that, if you just want to try to connect as many wicks as possible, you can basically see, and again, take it with a grain of salt, with that downward sloping resistance here, we had the first initial touch point, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you want, right? And then here, the breakout. I mean, we are not necessarily calling for a breakout here. Only according to the Litecoin leading indicator, this should break to the upside within the next few days. And to give that a little bit more of legitimization, let's take this one, the whole downtrend here in 2018. You all remember that, and here the Bitcoin SV fork and a lot of selling here on the exchanges, and we eventually broke down and formed this local low here at $3,100. So if we connect the very famous wicks here, you remember that we broke that down here on November. If we were to do the same for Litecoin, we actually also had a very nice horizontal, it's like a little bit Picasso here, but resistance here, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touch points, 6, 7 touch points even, and then we eventually broke down. And we broke down much earlier already. I mean, guys, this is what no one is talking about. Also on Twitter, we didn't see anyone talking about that, but we actually had the breakdown right here. And for Bitcoin, it actually came 5 or 6 months later, as you can see it right here. This is actually an extremely interesting thing. Again, coming back to the downward sloping resistance here, which was broken before by Litecoin, if we go here to the tweet of Willy Woo, we can actually see that here in his thread he was saying, using on-chain indicator investor activity, which gives a read of where this may go, Litecoin is very bullish, while Bitcoin is still consolidating around an early bullish swing. So if we open that and we zoom in a little bit, because this is not really visible, you can see that the investors activity here for Bitcoin is actually tightening up a little bit, and the moving average here is still a little bit flattening out. Whereas for Litecoin, if we zoom here to the downside, Litecoin's investors activity, the on-chain from the blockchain pulled investors activity, is actually already breaking out and also leading the moving average here to slope towards the upside. So according to that on-chain metric here, Litecoin might be again leading the way for this bullish trend reversal. Guys, always take it with a grain of salt. But what Willy Woo here is actually saying, the BTC market in a nutshell, long-term price is determined by investors activity and adoption curve, the domain of on-chain fundamentals. So of course, if you look to the long term, not only the adoption is very important, but of course also the investors activity, since this is a very, very important use case right now, the whole speculation thing. So what we can see right now is actually rather a bullish than a bearish picture, because Litecoin is leading the way here and breaking already out of this downwards sloping resistance. And this is actually taking all of that into consideration, extremely interesting when it comes to predicting the direction and the trend reversals of Bitcoin, and also when it comes to predicting potential breakouts for Bitcoin in the lower and in the higher time frames. Also, guys, very important, you remember Bitcoin hit the 6,430 US dollar low here 3 weeks ago already in December. And yeah, you remember we made a video about that, and we were actually a little bit lucky to catch that exact bottom here. Afterwards, we made a poll here on our YouTube channel, and we asked, was 6,430-ish the bottom for Bitcoin? 40% said yes, 51% said no, and we had a lot of comments. So first of all, shout out to everyone who said yes in that very, very bearish times. And we are very proud of our community, even if it won't be true in the end. I mean, only time will tell. But if we go into the comments, look at that. 5K bottom February or March, 4,200, 5,500 will be the bottom. Well, 3,000 will be the bottom, but we have a correction to 5,000. And I mean, it's so many. 2,500 double bottom, or 1,800, 4,400. Look at this. 2,500, 5,900, 4,850. But like every single comment here is so extremely bearish. Maybe they will be right, only time will tell. But 4,200, you see so many. No, 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 no way. He is asking, are you kidding? He is laughing at us only because we are asking the question. You can clearly see the extreme severe bearishness of all the investors which are left. Must be a lot of smart investors left, since we already had so many washouts. So even the very smart investors are still extremely bearish, and that might be another leading indicator, only to put it out there, not talking about the very immediate short term, but maybe about the midterm here, breaking the trend to the upside for good. Let us know, first of all, in the poll, which is popping up on top of the screen right now, do you think we will break this trend to the upside, or will we get a rejection and fall down back into the lower prices? And also go to the comment section and leave your specific Bitcoin halving price target. That would be actually extremely interesting to see what our community once again thinks about that. Also, if you want to play that, we are actually doing that on another account. We have the swing trading account, the midterm account, and we have the short-term account. And also we have this account here where we are trying to a little bit trade here these breakouts, but of course take it with a grain of salt. If you want to do that, you know, only for very experienced traders here, you can get a $90 bonus completely for free, 24 seconds, and you get a $90 bonus if you make an account only with that link here in the pinned comment. Click the link, 24 seconds, $90. Also important, 3 commas. With our link, you get a free test account, a completely free test account where you can test all the functions, even the most expensive ones. You can test them, also the Bybit bots and everything else. If you click it, you get redirected right here. And with our link, you can get this 3-day pro plan, the best account you can get, actually completely for free. And if it expires, you have to go there and actively renew it yourself. Well, guys, let us know what you think about that in the comment section down below. And we will see each other very soon at the next one of MMCrypto. Subscription box is popping up right here. Subscribe to the channel right now and also click our Bybit tutorial. And that being said, guys, we will see each other very soon at the next one of MMCrypto. And as always, guys, as always, bye.